So LinkedIn's going to help you build your network. It's going to be able to help you find that first and future roles. It's going to be very critical that you master the LinkedIn game. Hi, and welcome to the Get Into Cloud podcast. My name is Coyne, and today we're going to talk about LinkedIn. Now, hopefully you're already familiar with LinkedIn, but if not, LinkedIn is a professional networking social media platform. I think it was created in early 2000s, somewhat recently purchased by Microsoft. It is the number one site for professionals to make connections with folks that are in their particular industry, to be found by recruiters, and to network with folks that will be an important part of how you will find both your initial roles in cloud and help you find your future roles in cloud as well. So LinkedIn's going to help you build your network. It's going to be able to help you find that first and future roles. It's going to be very critical that you master the LinkedIn game. So where do you start on LinkedIn? So first and foremost, you should go on to linkedin.com, get signed up, create a profile for yourself, and make sure that you have one that is available. You'll want to look at least in the past, you could set your LinkedIn URL to be your name or something along those lines. And you'll want to just start by getting signed in. The point of LinkedIn is going to be for you to build your brand. So you'll want to do some research on how to build your personal brand. That's a much longer topic than this podcast can cover, and I'm probably not the right person to help you with that. But you can do research on YouTube and online for how to build your own personal brand and to get started to build your LinkedIn profile. We'll cover some of the high-level items here. Branding is really about marketing. So you're going to think about how to market yourself. You'll want to come across as a person who is all the things that you would be looking for in an employee. You want to showcase those items for a potential employer or recruiter who's looking to connect with you. So you'll want to showcase that you're ambitious, that you're constantly learning and growing, that you're exploring and talking about new technology, staying on top of recent changes in AWS and cloud, data, security, all of those things that you might be interested in terms of the roles that you're looking at. You want to showcase that you're hardworking, that you're humble, that you're a team player. All of those kinds of things are important in the things that you're posting on LinkedIn, right? And LinkedIn has a couple of ways in which you're going to be engaging with the community at large, and I'll talk about that as we go through the podcast. Okay, so once you've logged in, you're going to want to update your profile. You're going to need some kind of picture for a banner across the background. You'll want a picture for yourself. You'll want to add information into your profile about all the technologies that you've touched. You want to add in all of the employment that you've been a part of that is relevant. So you don't want to add things, if you worked at Subway or something like that, as someone on the line, you probably don't want to add that in terms of your looking for a cloud role. But if you were a manager, you could certainly look at adding things like that in because it speaks to your ability to be able to manage others. So that might be valuable. You'll want to definitely add in your education if you have some schooling. Add in any certifications that you may have gotten, and you'll want to add in a lot of information about the technologies that you've touched, either into your about page or into your profile for other sections, so that when recruiters start to do keyword-based searches, that they can find you. Right? You want to come up in these recruiters are not searching by scrolling through LinkedIn. They're using different tools to search by keywords. So you'll want your You'll want your technologies that you've touched to show up in those keyword searches. And you really want to think about LinkedIn as your resume. If you've touched different technologies, if you've done projects with particular technologies, you'll want to put it in LinkedIn in your profile somewhere. So it can feel a little bit like a laundry list, but that's okay. Really, you're not optimizing it for people to visually look at your profile. We'll talk about that in a minute, but you're optimizing your about page and things like that for folks that are searching using automated tools, right? So you'll want to include, if for instance you were looking for a DevOps role, you would want to include some of the technologies that you've touched: GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket, CircleCI, Jenkins, things like that. You'd want to just list out all of the technologies that you've touched. You could use bullets to structure those, but you want to make sure all those words were there and searchable. Of course, you'll want to add a headshot. There are a lot of folks on LinkedIn that don't put a headshot in, but you'll want to definitely have a profile picture. It should be a professional looking picture. A lot of folks will put their, some picture from their wedding or something like that. I guess that's the last time they dressed up in a really nice suit. But you'll want to do a professional headshot with yourself looking like you're going to work somewhere. You'll want to look professional. You want to look like the job that you're going for. If you don't have access to do a professional headshot, you can do AI generated professional headshots just by supplying like 8 or 10 photos of yourself off your phone to an AI website, and then it'll generate some professional headshots where you're in a suit with a nice professional background that's like blurred out and things like that. So there's a lot of options today to be able to generate a headshot from existing photos of yourself. I would recommend definitely, if you're going to go the AI generated route, which if you look at my headshot, I had some previous headshots that were taken in person. It's quite expensive to pay a photographer to take those headshots. I was able to generate some new headshots for quite cheap. I think I paid $50 to generate hundreds of headshots in different scenarios, and one of the scenarios included was professional headshots. However you decide to go around that, you should definitely have a headshot. Put in any headshot until you can get a professional one. You can slowly upgrade that over time. You don't want to leave it blank. You definitely want to, this is a personal website. You're going to want to create personal connections with people, and having a picture of your face is one of the easiest ways that people can help to humanize you to other folks. What you do next is you want to begin to connect with other professionals on the site. You need to build your network. So you're going to need to start in the search bar. That's the very first place I would tell you to go. You're going to start in the search bar and start searching for things that are related to the role that you're looking for. So if you're looking to get into cloud security, you're going to search for cloud security. If you're looking to get into data and analytics, if you're looking to become a solution architect, if you're interested in AWS and DevOps, you're going to start in the search bar searching for those things. You're going to begin connecting with individuals, experts, recruiters, and others by hitting the connect button. There's no secret sauce here. You want to start following and connecting folks that are in the area that you're interested in. And I'll talk a little bit more about how you grow from that point, but you're going to want to start looking at and connecting with those folks so you'll start to be fed their content specifically. And so that's really where you're going to start. You're going to search for folks that are connected and start connecting with those individuals. After you've started down that path, you're going to want to start to think about creating your own content. So creating your own content is actually a lot that goes into that. I would recommend looking up some information on how to use ChatGPT to create content on LinkedIn, or how to write your own brand new content from scratch for your particular role. If you go on YouTube, you'll find a lot of videos on how to create content You can start small and really look at just sharing your journey, sharing your research, sharing all the things that you're learning about. If you're in a boot camp or you're going through a process of learning cloud on your own, you should be doing hands-on projects. You should be posting about those projects. What did you learn? What was easy? What was hard? What did you struggle with? What did others struggle with? And you're going to look to start to try to engage with the community writ large and post about that. What you'll notice is as you go, you'll not only just connect with folks that are ahead of you in the game that already have reached the destination that you're looking for in posting content, but also connecting with folks that are on the same journey that you're on. That way you can see the kinds of things that they're posting. You want to react and comment on the things that they're talking about, and then have them kind of build a little bit of a community among the folks that you're working with. If you're in a boot camp or at a university going through school there, you'll want to be connecting with the folks that are in your university, with your teachers, all of your instructors, with folks that maybe, if you can connect with the school itself or the boot camp itself, connect with the folks that went to it before you and who have graduated and have a role potentially that in the industry that you're looking to get into, and begin to just start to grow your network organically that way. One of the other things you can use to create content is to subscribe to different blogs that are connected to your industry. So if you were looking to get a cloud engineering role, you might look at the AWS blog. If you're gearing towards AWS, or an Azure blog, if you were looking at Azure or another cloud, follow that blog and look for relevant content and articles that you could share with your network, and look to not just share. You don't want to just share without your perspective. You want to give your perspective on those articles, on some new content, a breach that maybe affects how something is done, maybe something in the industry that's changing, recent updates with Terraform and OpenTofu. If you're in DevOps and infrastructure as code, you might post about GitHub and GitLab and maybe the difference between the two if you're working on a project where you're comparing those. All kinds of articles and content is being produced every day about changes in cloud and engineering and DevOps and infrastructure as code. So you want to post those kind of industry relevant topics with your perspective and try to generate some discussion around those with the people that you've connected with. One of the things that's going to be important for generating kind of activity around your community on LinkedIn is to engage with people on your network. So when you post a post, you'll want to immediately go through your feed and look to react to folks that are posting in your feed as well. And this is a trick for the LinkedIn algorithm that shows that you're an active member. You're not just a bot that's posting and then walking away. So you want to post your activity or your post, for instance. Let's say you shared an article and you wrote something interesting on that, or you shared a poll about whether someone would choose GitHub versus GitLab and which is better, and then you trying to generate some discussion around that. You would immediately after you post, you would want to look through your feed and find some other folks that have posted, and then post a comment that is engaging and interesting, not just, hey, that's good, or, not a 2-word good job or well done or something like that. You want to continuously look to post items that are going to be engaging and informative, and add your perspective on that thing as well. It's just very important that you're liking things, you're commenting, you're sharing along with your posts, so that the algorithm knows that you're an engaged person on the platform and will continue to push your content to others as well. Now, I already mentioned that you should connect. You want to connect with as many people as you can. As you begin to post and react and create discussion, there'll be some folks that start to chime in on your posts more often. You'll want to connect with them and be be sure to react on their content as well. You'll find people in the comments that are commenting on someone that you're following that are adding some interesting content. You should connect with them as well. The point is to kind of create an engine on your posts so that you're creating more visibility and more exposure for the things that you're posting. And so that way you get more exposure to folks in the community, and then your name becomes important. People see that you're posting, they see that you're reacting, and you're creating kind of more a bigger community for yourself to be connected with when it comes time for you to graduate from that boot camp or graduate from that school program or something like that. When you start to look for a role, then you'll have a greater network that you can tap into. I mentioned before that you can search, but as you've started to develop a little bit of your own community, you'll want to kind of grow the number of recruiters that you are connected to, specifically ones that are focused on cloud roles. And this is something specifically LinkedIn lets you search for individuals that are connected to you, either 2 or 3 connections away. Really, you want to focus on 2 connections away, folks that are connected to you with the title recruiter. And then you can even filter even further to add in things about AWS or some other technologies that you're looking for. You could do with keywords, but you can search for folks with title recruiter who maybe used to work at AWS or something along those lines. Those are going to be technical recruiters that are going to be most likely working in recruiting for cloud roles, and you'll want to start to connect with them. Here's the secret about recruiters. Recruiters, there's a couple of things. One, they tend to accept all connection requests, right? This is their job, is to find candidates for roles. So they will accept almost all connection requests, and they will be connected with a whole lot of people. So if you connect with a recruiter who is particularly popular, what you'll find is that they'll be connected with thousands and thousands of people. So now, because you're connected with that recruiter, you are now only one step away from everyone they're connected to. So then if you connect with a couple of key recruiters who are, have thousands of connections, then when you look to reach out to a person who maybe is posting about DevOps, or you think their content is interesting, or they work at a company that maybe you're interested in applying to, then because you've connected with some recruiters, they will only be 2 steps away from you. And in the world of LinkedIn, if you're trying to connect with someone directly, then the closer they are to you, if they're 3 or 4 steps away, LinkedIn may block you from connecting with them, depending on how they have their settings set up. But if they are 2 steps away, if it's you, then a recruiter, then them, then it's likely that you'll be able to connect directly with them without having to purchase premium or do anything like that. So connecting with a lot of recruiters, and again, recruiters are going to be the ones who you're going to come up in their search. If they're looking for a junior role, someone who has experience with DevOps or infrastructure as code or Terraform or something like that, then you're going to come up in their searches as well. So you want to be connected with a lot of recruiters. I make a point, maybe once a quarter, you do a search for recruiters. You want to connect with a lot of them that you're not connected with already, so that it spreads your network out, because they are hyper connectors. They're connected with a lot of people, and it makes connecting with those people second away even that much easier. Okay, one of the other things you want to look at are LinkedIn groups. LinkedIn has a whole bunch of groups that go across all kinds of different subjects. Here, in this case, you're going to be interested in groups that center around the cloud role that you're looking to get into. I would recommend getting in, if you're looking at cloud engineering or cloud architecture, you want to get into AWS groups, cloud groups. If you're interested in DevOps, you can get into DevOps groups. When you have get your first AWS certification, you can join AWS certified groups. These are groups that are still very large, but only for folks that have particular AWS certifications. and you'll want to look to expand the number of groups that you're a part of, and then think about posting to those groups. Now, you'll want to be a little bit more careful on your own feed. You can generally post whatever you want, but for individual groups, you'll need to make sure that you are only posting about the specific item that what you're allowed. The groups will have rules about what can and can't be posted about. As you're in the groups, you'll see what is being posted about as well, and you should be able to learn about what's typical and read the rules about that group and be sure to post in those groups. You'll have access to, in some of these groups, over 100,000 people in the groups. And so if you post in the groups, it'll get sent to everyone. And of course, that's a great opportunity for you to connect with a lot of people. One of the other things you can do, and this is kind of the last of the advice that I would give about LinkedIn, is you can follow certain hashtags. So as you see people posting about particular things, you'll see certain hashtags that come up over and over and over again, things like Hire Junior, things like AWS, and so on and so forth, hashtag DevOps, and along those lines. If you click those hashtags, you should get an option to follow the hashtag. So that means anybody who posts with that particular hashtag, those items will come up in your feed and give you another avenue to connect with folks that are posting content who could be potentially influential and provide you with more interesting information and engagement. So the last thing I'll say about LinkedIn, and I think this is important, it is a social media site, but it is a professional social media site. So you'll want to treat it very differently from Facebook and Instagram and X or Twitter or Threads or any of these others, right? This is a professional, very focused social media, and your potential employers will be looking at your LinkedIn. They will look through your posts. Recruiters might look through your posts, what you're liking, what you're sharing. And so it's going to be very important to not post things that are controversial, avoid politics, avoid controversial topics. There's a lot of outlets to post there. And let me tell you that people on LinkedIn, there are a lot of people on LinkedIn that will post this. They will, post on one side or the other. That will goad you into trying to post along that. They'll attempt to make you feel guilty for not posting about one thing or another, whatever their political thing is. They want engagement too. So their goal from a social media perspective to have engagement is to upset people. They'll be looking to upset you one way or another to get you to engage. Like that's the goal. A lot of the goal of social media, right, is how can I get engagement? How do I get eyeballs and clicks? So my recommendation is if you have someone in your feed that's posting things that are political or controversial or along the lines of stuff that you would see on Facebook or Instagram, you just click the three dots and mark that you would like to unfollow them. Then you won't see their content in your feed, so you won't be tempted. Avoid posting that yourself. Again, there's better places to post that in terms of having that kind of argument and discussion. Ignore posts that are outside of what you're doing. Remember, you're focused. LinkedIn should be focused on how am I going to use it to get my next job. Think of it as kind of like the kinds of discussions you have at the office, right? The things that are appropriate there. You really want this to stay focused on that, right? So you'll want to focus in on the things that you should be doing. The goal here is to make yourself visible to those recruiters and employers, to make friends with folks that are potentially in your area, to be able to make connections with companies that you're interested in joining so that you can smooth out the process for you to get that first role and to get all those future roles that you're looking to get. All right, you made it to the end of the episode. Great job. Be sure to follow this podcast for more great episodes. I release a new one every week. I created this podcast to help people just like you with the secrets to jumpstarting their cloud career. But I need your help. Please rate and review this podcast on Spotify or Apple. And of course, share this with anyone you know that is also on this journey as well. Thanks again for listening. Let's get into cloud.